Hey everybody, Josh Porter from Buttered and Salty, coming to you on YouTube with my first video content for Buttered and Salty. What better way to start than Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker? Going to give you a couple very quick general thoughts, because that's pretty much all I can do. Social embargo lifted last night. The main embargo lifts, I think, at midnight tonight or tomorrow. I'll have my written review as well as probably a video version of it later this week. But here's a couple of general thoughts for Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. I liked it. I did not love it. It definitely has some issues, and my most general thought walking out of the theater was okay, unnecessary. I mean, and I guess I could give that to the entire sequel trilogy in general, but I didn't really feel that with The Force Awakens. It kind of played it safe, but definitely righted the ship from a lot of issues that the prequels had. It was entertaining, it was fun, well cast, new characters are likable, and I'll get back to them in a minute. Last Jedi, I liked it. A lot of people didn't. I thought it definitely made some mistakes, but it introduced some interesting ideas and took some risks that I quite liked. The film looked great too, but this one does as well. It's dense, it's big, talking about The Rise of Skywalker. It's a very large-scale film. It's probably the biggest film of all the Star Wars films, scale-wise. But the thing is, and you can say this, I guess, about any sequel, but I've been there and I've done that. And I guess you could say that about the sequels, or the prequels, any of the films after the original trilogy, but that's kind of the feeling I had. It's good. It's nice to revisit some of the characters that we haven't seen. It's neat to see Lando. It's neat to see the Emperor in some form. No spoilers, we know he's all over the trailers. But there's kind of a been there, done that feeling of the films. And I guess we got that from the other ones too, but Last Jedi, at least for all of its issues, took some risks, did some interesting stuff. This is kind of bogged down by being so dense and trying to tie up loose ends. It actually opens up other ones that it never really answers, which I can't get into right now. But I'll do that in my review this weekend. So yeah, I liked it. It looks good. JJ threw everything at the wall, seeing what would stick. Some of it really did. There's some great moments that people will like, and I liked some of them too. But in general, I kind of left it. I just already know it's not staying with me like other films did. And it's probably just that the saga ends here, at least the Skywalker films. There's nothing really more that needs to be said. And if you think about it, there was really nothing more that needed to be said after Return of the Jedi. But I understood the prequels. The prequels made a lot of sense to me. Even though I'm not a big prequel guy, because we know how the story ends up, there was a whole story of how Anakin Skywalker and the Emperor came to be. Anakin as Darth Vader and Palpatine as the Emperor. So that made sense. We all knew this was coming someday, hopefully, from George Lucas. What more needs to be said after Return of the Jedi? It was such a wonderful trilogy, wonderful three set of stories. That what more needs to be said outside of, comics or whatever? But they went forward with it. I think the future of Star Wars lies in Disney Plus, The Mandalorian, the Obi-Wan series. If they're going to do any more films, man, I think we're done with the saga films. That's it. I never need to see these characters again. And I don't mean that as a diss, even though I wasn't a huge fan of this film. I think it's just it. There's nothing more to say with Luke and with Leia and Han, and some of those characters are already gone anyway. The Emperor, Chewbacca, who's awesome and very good in this. But there's really nothing else that needs to be said about these films. I think it lies in The Mandalorian, the Obi-Wan series. If they're going to do any more films in this series, I think they need to go way in the future, kind of like Star Trek The Next Generation did over the original Star Trek series. Way in the future, where you don't see any of these characters other than references, or go way in the past, like Knights of the Old Republic, and do something really fresh, or go somewhere else in this galaxy far, far away that we've never even thought of. So that's kind of my general review. I'm looking forward to really digging into it. I love Star Wars. I know a lot of you do as well. It's definitely not a failure. It's an entertaining movie, but it really could have been so much more. And it really feels like a rush job script-wise to me. Not that there's bad dialogue, though that plunky comedy always kind of grates on my nerves, but it's just, it really needed more time to develop. And we all know for a fact that they kind of sprinted ahead with the script over just a couple of months. Maybe we didn't all know that, and maybe I'm just saying that because I've seen the film now and it feels that way, and I kind of knew that information to begin with, but it could have used a little more time to marinate. So, to sum it up, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, it's good. It's not great. I definitely didn't love it. I thought Last Jedi took a few more risks, even for things that it did wrong. It swung for the fences in different ways. This is just kind of a been there, done that. And I'm interested to see what you all think. So comment down below with your predictions and your thoughts or your questions. I won't answer too many of them that have to do with plot points, but we can talk later this weekend. But hit the subscribe button down below, and we'll see you this weekend. Go see Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Excited to see what you all think. Let's give it a good weekend. Let's have the Skywalker saga go out in style and success, and I'll see you all later. Buttered and Salty, Josh Porter, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Go see it. Let's talk.